I said, hey, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. I said, hey, hey, welcome to the Man Cave Happy Hour. We're gonna drink a fine whiskey and smoke a really fine cigar.
It is time for Happy Hour, the Man Cave Happy Hour, whiskey, cigar, spirits, the stories that go along with it. I'm Jamie Flanagan, and we're just going to have some fun tonight. It's all about the ladies tonight. The Man Cave, it says right on the sign there, you can see it, a podcast for everyone. The microphone was in the way. A podcast for everyone, because it is, because bourbons and whiskeys and spirits, and the Man Cave is just not exclusively for the men. It's just a convenient, fun name that we have. And ladies learning about bourbon, and that's why we do the podcast, is to learn. I've said it many times, not an expert, barely knowledgeable. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. So learning about bourbon and how do you do that? How do you find out? And well, Carrie McBride, our guest today, is going to help the ladies out because she wrote a book. Carrie, welcome to the Man Cave.
Well, thank you. I'm loving being in the Man Cave. It's awesome.
So the pen name is Harper Neat.
It is.
It's like when we saw the name, we were speculating. We're like, that's got to be.
Of course. Of course.
Stormy weather, the traffic lady, So,
sure.
Yeah. So we're like, it's probably neat. We're like, could that be the name? Like, well, that'd be great. But anyway,
I thought it was a great name, but that's just because I was totally chicken. I had never published a book before. I still work. I'm a consultant. I thought, oh my gosh, what if I humiliate myself publicly? So let's go with a pen name, and that's the whole story.
They say everybody has a book in them. And it's just a matter of getting it out there. But before we get into the book, right, the book Bourbon Basics for Her, we'll get to that. But before we do, Carrie, tell me about your childhood.
My childhood, oh my gosh. That was a really long time ago. I grew up in Ohio. My dad was a factory guy. So we moved every 4 years, all through the Midwest, Indiana, all that stuff. But 4 of those years were in Kentucky. And I have vivid memories of, we lived in a dry county in Kentucky. And I have vivid memories of the 3 of us getting crammed in the back seat of the car and Dad driving over the county line to buy booze and bring it back home. And he was a bourbon lover from that day on. So childhood, great childhood, great parents, bourbon dad, and they're both gone now. But remembering the dad last week.
But that's what led you to having an affinity for bourbon.
But of course,
of
course, lots of days when Dad taught me as a 12-year-old. Go over there and pour me a bourbon, Carrie. And go over and like it was Coca-Cola, right? And Dad would say, that's a little much. So really, that's all I knew about bourbon until about 4 years ago.
So you posed when we were chatting earlier. You posed a question. It's how do you not look stupid when you're in a group of bourbon aficionados or a bunch of people drinking bourbon. So all right. So tell me about the book. What was the precipice? What was the guiding, leading moment that sparked this book?
Like a lot of things, it's a whole bunch of things that just come together. Part of it was 2020, which was boring as heck for most of us because we weren't going anywhere. We were just hanging out, and it was no fun at all. I was really, really busy. I am the main wage earner for my family, and consulting is what I do for a living. And I just wanted to do something that was more fun. Right around then, we got together with friends who were bourbon drinkers, and we went to a restaurant together. We ordered that restaurant's old fashioned. And I thought, this is really good. So every restaurant that we went to together and that week we spent together, I was ordering old fashions. It was really the only time I'd ever drunk bourbon before. Came out of that experience just really curious about it. Started asking questions and trying to learn. I didn't know why I liked it. Do I like all the stuff that's in there with the bourbon? I've spent my whole life drinking wine and margaritas,
Yeah.
That was about it. So it was really a new experience for me to get into bourbon. And then I just started exploring. trying to figure out what it was I liked. All starting with the old fashioned though.
Yeah.
That was the basis.
So do you now that those old fashions, do you drink it straight now? Do
Oh,
you
you
try?
bet. You
Yeah.
bet.
Okay.
It's
You
my
progress.
theory that you get into it because it doesn't taste like bourbon,
Yeah.
right? You feel there's a spirit in there, but you're really tasting everything that goes around it.
Yeah.
And you either decide to lean into the bourbon or maybe you don't, right? But for me, over weeks or months, I realized that I really wasn't liking all the other stuff that was going on in there and really just more enjoying the bourbon. So started drinking just bourbon with a cube and went from there trying to figure out which bourbons do I really like, what creates a bourbon that I'm really enjoying. And that really started the mission, and after I'd spent a year or so, 2 years, 3 years, just kind of learning more and more and more about it. I just thought, wow, there are probably a lot of women out there who probably would really enjoy it, but they just don't know how to get into it. I didn't know how to get into it.
Right.
So what the heck? I'll put this all together. I've always loved to write. Writing is a key part of what I do for a living. So a friend of mine said, no, you'll never do it, which was like waving the red flag, right? So
Yeah.
over the Christmas holidays, I'm a consultant, and over the Christmas holidays, most of us get shut down. We don't want any consultants working over the holidays. So I had 2 weeks over the holidays, did the research, and within a month or so was able to publish it. And to my amazement, there are a lot of people out there who just want a super quick read that introduces them to the topic, that gives them a starting place, you
Yeah.
know? So that's what I've been doing. That's Bourbon Basics for her. And I connected up with you on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
Trying to get reviewers to take a look at the book and let me know if it's any good or not. Let me know what to do better next time around. So
Yeah.
I'll probably tweak it in the next month or so, add some more recipes to it, add some more substance to it. But
Right.
really, just for fun.
So
And hoping
what
some other folks have fun.
are people going to find when they get it and they crack the digital spine on it anyway? And
Yeah, you can buy
and
paperback. I mean, there's a real paperback, but you see how skinny it is,
yeah.
This is meant to be a quick read. I mean, I don't know if you're old enough to remember what the heck did you buy when you didn't actually read the assignment? Those yellow books.
Oh, yeah. Cliff Notes. Yeah.
Cliff Notes, right?
I'm an English teacher. I know all about the Cliff Notes.
Oh gosh, okay. That was probably like evil for you. But the idea was you could sit down and in an hour or so just page through this and say, okay, I've had my orientation now. I can proceed and explore and just see what I want to do from here on out. That's it. Quick read. What is it? How to get into it? How to buy it? I mean, I could go in to buy bourbon for my husband and have no idea what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so much stuff there. So what do? You buy an expensive one.
Yeah.
You figure that's a good one.
Someone with a fancy bottle. Something with a fancy bottle.
Yeah.
The lusty claw with the. So yeah. So.
Well, the good news is Basil Hayden has a really cool bottle.
Yes.
I'm like, that's the coolest bottle ever. And this turned out to be one of my favorites, actually.
Yeah, I saw somebody did with that. They got the ring off of the Basil Hayden and they put it on their Yeti cup.
Yeah.
They put it on their Yeti tumbler.
So I think it's funny you mentioned Yeti because my husband for Mother's Day, so I brought all my toys to show you. Look at this new shaker. Have you seen one of these?
No. Is that a Yeti shaker?
Yeti shaker. I don't know with my background if you can really see.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
This thing is so cool.
Oh.
It doesn't leak. I mean, it's awesome. I'm in love with it. So of course it's the toys. Now I'm really into the toys, the bourbon toys.
Yeah. So there's because I'm gonna mix a Manhattan, so I got my spoon. And Four Roses has their Mellow Moments Club. We were talking about this last week.
I saw that last week. Yeah, you were talking about it.
Yeah, and they were they send you like swag, right? So I got this really cool spoon from them and a strainer and other things, and it's the toys that go with it. Yeah. It's because you gotta have the right tools. It's in because you go to a bar and you go to one of these craft cocktails or these speakeasies and you get a cocktail and it's like, why can't I do that at home? Why can't I make these at home? And it's because you don't have the right tools very often.
Yeah.
you know, the bartenders will tell you you got to have the right tools.
Well, and also it's the measuring thing, you know. I'm an engineer by training, which means by definition, we do not read directions before we put things together. It's kind of safe for drinks. I'm just dumping stuff in there, and it's not so great. But I've turned over a new leaf. I just bought myself a new jigger that's really cool, and now
Yeah,
I'm actually using it. I'm actually measuring, and I
I
think
know.
that's
I
going
got
to
my
make a difference. It's going to make a difference.
It does. It really does. And the other thing I noticed that the professional bartenders do, or the one that and one we had this girl Tara, she comes in and she bartends for us and does cocktails for us now and again. She goes a little heavier on the bitters, right?
Yeah,
So the recipes call for usually for 2 or 3, and she's like a good 5 or 6.
I agree with her. On I like my old fashions better than the ones I buy at this point, and I double the bitters every time.
Yeah,
And I use orange bitters too. I really like that.
yeah, yeah. Which bitters do you use?
Orange. I
Oh,
use
yep,
yeah, orange bitters.
yeah,
I like those better than the normal kind,
yep.
which is way too hard to say anyway.
Yeah, the Angostura.
Yeah, that one.
Those, yeah. So I got to grab my orange bitters from the other room. I'll just use the Angostura for this for Manhattan. But yeah. So what did you, when you were writing the book, is there something that you learned? Was there something new that you learned and discovered while you were writing the book?
Well, I tell you, I learned so much while I was writing the book because there were a whole lot of things that I thought I knew,
Yeah.
and before I put them in a book, I had to go figure out, do I really know this right? Right. So
So,
I was all over the internet. I was reading books. And yeah, a lot of the basics I had down pat, but I began to understand why I think I like certain things more than I like other things. And I began to put a picture together. And that was kind of the inspiration is wow, this is really helping me understand how to enjoy bourbon, right? The process of writing the book helped me understand. And, simple things like I don't love super high proof bourbons. My
uh,
palate is just not developed to the point where I can appreciate that. Other things like, don't spend $100 on a bottle of bourbon that you're going to throw into an old fashioned. A waste of dollars, which
yeah.
goes back to the all right, what can you choose that's $30, $40 that you're going to enjoy both neat and you're not going to feel horrible about throwing in an old fashioned. So doing that research, learning from the people who are super knowledgeable out there. For example, this book by Fred Minnick,
Oh,
I love this book. Can you see the book? Can you
yeah,
see it?
yeah,
Okay, I
yeah.
just put it up. I mean, that's so impressive. But when I first started learning about bourbon, this was too much for me.
Right,
It
right.
was just too advanced for where my head is at. Well, now I'm starting to read it and actually absorb things from it.
So
But
you got yours as a primer, and then you can
yeah,
dive deep with Fred. Fred's amazing. Yeah, I
yeah,
want to party with that guy one day.
I bet. I bet. Yeah, I love to watch his podcasts. He does
Yeah,
tastings and that kind of thing. It's fun.
yeah. So as you've gone through and you've tried different bourbons, have you found when you said you like the Basil Hayden, it was there? Do you have a go-to? Do you have a favorite?
Well, it's probably all the usual suspects. Basil Hayden is always on the shelf. I really like the Basil Hayden, the toast version,
Yes.
which gives it a little bit more. And I just picked up this one, which I've never tried before. This red wine cask finish. Have you tried
Right.
that one?
I have not
I
tried that
was,
one.
I was thinking this might be really good in a New York sour
Mm,
because of the floater, the red
yeah.
wine or whatever you do as a floater. This might be a really interesting choice for that. But back to your question, Wild Turkey 101.
Ah,
It's just a good, 4 roses. I always have 4 roses. I always have a Woodford because when we have guests and we say, hey, what would you like? A lot of people who've just started with bourbon, the one thing they know is Woodford because you can
yeah,
get it in almost every restaurant you go to.
yeah.
They've got Woodford. So, you know, 4 roses and Basil Hayden and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Now, Horse Soldier is really big down here in St. Petersburg
Okay.
because there's a Horse Soldier distillery restaurant thing down here. So I always have some of that just for fun. My son loves it. So I'm
Oh,
doing a selection,
is that
but
the Horse Soldier have the tin
yeah,
badge on the front of it? Okay.
yeah.
I
There's
don't
like
think I've
four
tried
or
that
five
one yet.
different kinds. I haven't sorted them all out yet.
Yeah. So is there? So is you said oh, I'm not going to spend $100 on a bottle. I'm kind of thrifty like that myself.
Yeah.
But is there a bottle like an expensive bottle that those all those are like probably anywhere from the $30 to $60 range. The ones you were mentioning.
Yeah.
Do you have a big dog that you like? Is there one that you like on the high
Well,
end?
I'm so Dutch, I don't like to spend. I hate to spend money on something I don't know I love yet. So um, I did for Father's Day. I set up a tasting for my husband.
Ah,
So I had the usual suspects, which we have all the time, and then I got a bottle of. I'm going to do this from memory. Remus,
mm-hmm.
which is like $150,
Okay.
115 somewhere in there, and I have a bottle of Barrel, which is like I'm gonna say 60, $70 for
Yeah.
me. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's just the way but the truth is they're super high proof.
Yeah.
So I go into a tasting, I'm like, oh, this may be really good. It gets really good reviews, but I'm not quite ready for this yet.
Yeah. You got
It
that
didn't
Stag
feel horrible.
Junior.
What have you got there?
This I have a rye. I'm doing a Manhattan, so
Yeah.
I got some Rittenhouse.
Okay. I haven't
It
had
is
that.
a Rittenhouse is a very very reasonable priced bottle.
Yeah.
I want to say it's 20. It's definitely under 25. But it's a really nice. It's bottled and bond, so it's 100 proof.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so it's a nice one to just have on the rocks, or definitely mixing it up. And I was gonna mix up a Manhattan. It's been my go-to lately. The we talked about the New York Sour
Yeah.
earlier, but I was doing a Manhattan. So this is how I do the Manhattan is I cheat. I just do it right in the glass. So it's 2 ounces of the rye whiskey, and then 1 ounce of vermouth. Do you get what kind of vermouth do you use?
I
Do you,
don't. I tell
pardon?
you, I
You,
don't.
you don't make Manhattan. You don't make the Manhattan then. All
No,
right.
no. I mean, my go-to is bourbon, a few drops of bitters, a couple drops of um, stevia, and an ice cube.
Okay.
Happy woman. Happy woman.
All right. You see, really in the old fashioned
Yeah.
market then. All right.
Yeah.
I like the Manhattan. It's just with the vermouth. This is the Doolin.
Mhm.
Vermouth is nice. Cookie is the other one we usually use. Um, and then I got in trouble when we first started doing this because I was using the one vermouth that you see, everywhere in your grocery stores.
Mhm.
That's widely available, and it's like a lower end one. And there's a few party stores here in town that
Yeah.
liquor stores that we know the people at, and Big Tony was watching from the wine garden, and he was like, "For shame, you're mixing that awful vermouth." He goes, "You got to get into the store, and I'm gonna fix you. I'm gonna get you a better vermouth." I'm like, "All
It's
right,
like
Tony,
sacrilege.
I'll come." I know he was mad, so he got
Yeah.
me into the Duel and the Cookie. Um, for the vermouths, and
Cool.
I've been very very happy with those decisions. All right, and then yeah, I got just the regular Angostura bitters
Yeah. Yeah.
to go along with it. And like I said, it calls for 3. I probably just put 4 or 5 in there.
I'm telling you, I go heavy, like 6 of them. Let her rip.
I know. It's I dig it. So and then so it says to put it in a shaker with ice, and then strain it. I cheat. I just do it right in the glass.
I like cheating. Again, it's all about keeping it easy.
Yeah.
You get done, you're working all day. You don't want to. Sometimes you really want to do it right. Grab the shaker bottle or get the glass and stir it all up. But sometimes you just want the straight path to gratification.
So I got some really clear ice. Um,
Do you
like
have that double decker ice maker thing? I love that thing.
no, I got a little baby Playmate cooler.
Oh, I've
Um,
heard that can be done. Yeah.
so and a bread knife and a hammer.
Say how you do it. Tell me how you do it.
I do it. So yeah, it's a little baby. This is the little Playmate cooler, right? But it's the one with you want the one with a lid that you can pop off.
Yeah.
And then so really not the Playmate, but whatever. But it's just the lunchbox size one. It's only 8 inches by 10 inches or whatever. And I fill it full of water,
Yeah.
throw it in the freezer, move the turkey off the shelf. And so there's room for this little baby cooler in there. And then let it sit, freeze for about usually 23, 22, 24
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
And then because the ice freezes from the top down and the air gets trapped underneath.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of throw it in the sink and let it fall out of the thing. And then just with the bread knife, you really just score the ice and then tap it and it cracks like you're cutting diamonds. It's great.
I haven't done that. I went to Amazon and bought the double-decker deal.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's just mocking up what you just described.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just a square plastic thing that's insulated, and the bottom half of it is full with water, and then your ice cube tray sits on top of it with holes in the bottom of each one of the ice squares.
Yeah.
But the ice comes out totally clear.
Yeah.
And that is cool,
Yeah.
right? You put
I
that
know.
in
You
the glass.
can't.
It's just beautiful.
You can't see you're hard pressed to see the ice
Gorgeous.
in there.
Yeah.
I need the light behind me. Yeah, it just disappears when it's in your cocktail. And then my wife will yell at me. She goes, "That's a heavy pour." I go, "No." I got the good ice in there. It's all ice. It's not that big of a pour.
You're telling yourself that.
It's usually a pretty good pour too.
I just made this golden hour cocktail, and I should have known, because if I looked at the ingredients list, it's roughly a third bourbon, a third something else, and a third something else.
Yeah.
Which means I'm not going to be happy, right? Because there's not enough bourbon as a percentage in the total mix. So I'd rather have less and more bourbon forward in what I'm drinking. So of course I had to go back and throw a bunch more bourbon in there, and now I'm happier with it. I will be making that.
What else is in the golden hour?
Oh gosh, now you're gonna force me to go from memory, but it's Aperol Aperitivo.
Yeah, that Aperol, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And one
super
more thing. It's sweet, right? Which is the other issue. I think I really like more of a spicy kind of drink, but I mean, that's what I'm up to now. I'm wandering through this fabulous cocktail book. Have you seen this one?
No, which one's that?
This is by Amy Zavato,
Okay.
who I guess is really famous for this kind of thing. So it's really an interesting book. It's set up by kind of flavor profile.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been walking my way through it. And now I just realized that the sweet ones are not the ones I like. So see, you learn something. Just got to keep experimenting. We've
done some very there's it's the Kids in the Hall, the comedy show. They one of their bits was he was a girl drink drunk, and he's in the closet with the blender and the little umbrellas. But that's kind of me. I kind of really like the tropical drinks. I like the drinks with the umbrella, the sweet, the fruity. But I like the bourbon straight up. They're like, but then people think I don't like the bourbon straight up, but I do. I like the bitters. And this Manhattan, this is a spicy. The Rittenhouse, you mix it there with the vermouth, and it's a nice spicy.
So it's just vermouth and bitters.
Yeah. So the bourbon 2 to 1, and you can actually even go a little lighter. Do 2 on the bourbon, and then just like 1 or like a 3/4 or a half on the vermouth if you want it to be a little more bourbon forward.
Yeah.
So that's.
Well, I got to get into that. My sister loves Manhattan, so I got to have that ready for when she comes to visit next time. So I have to get
there's not too many ingredients, right? So you can do it. And then I got the Luxardo cherries too. I had to top it off with a Luxardo cherry.
They're pretty.
Do you do the Luxardos?
I do when I'm feeling like making things pretty. Sure. But the thing I love is I love to have an orange peel or a lemon peel. I just love the look. And I grow my own rosemary here. I got a little herb garden, so I have my own rosemary. I love to throw rosemary in there with a little bit of orange peel. It's just pretty. That's what I do versus the umbrella. I'll leave the umbrellas to you.
No, I like the orange peel and the rosemary. I gotta try that. I gotta in your old fashioned. I gotta try that. Have you ever done the smoked old fashioned? Have you had one smoked?
I have really mixed results though. I went through my smoking phase here. Not this kind of smoking, but smoked bourbon.
Yes,
base.
yes.
So I have 3 different varieties of smokers.
Oh, okay.
But I finally found the one that's like the glass case
Mm-hmm.
kind of thing, and I can actually stick 2 old fashions in there and smoke them. But I don't think I'm very good at it yet, to be honest. I mean, sometimes you really get the smoky taste. Sometimes you
Yeah.
don't. It must be user error of some kind. I just
Yeah.
don't know what the error is. But my favorite local bar here in St. Petersburg, which unfortunately shut down last year, they knew how to smoke an old fashioned. I mean, when that thing came out, it just the smoke was just fabulous,
Yeah.
and the pungent smoke aroma stayed with it long after it came out of the box. Right.
Right.
So I aspire to that. I love that.
I like getting them when I'm out at one of the fancier restaurants and
Yeah,
pay the little extra for it and get it smoked
yeah. Why
because
not?
it's fun and they do a presentation and everything. So
Buffalo, the horse soldier, horse soldier distillery here
mhm.
smokes everything. Everything's
Oh,
smoked when it comes out. So that was the manager came by and said, "Hey, after dinner," I'm like, "Oh, it's really good, but what I really want to know is would that taste any different if it weren't smoked?" So son of a gun, here he came back with one smoked, one unsmoked, and we did a taste test right there.
oh
It's a
my,
big restaurant manager, right?
that's
And
awesome.
yeah,
You're going back after that.
absolutely, and you better because it's not cheap.
Mhm.
But it was worth it. It was a great experience, and really, I love the smoked old fashioned. It's just awesome. So one of these days, I'm gonna redevelop that skill set.
All right. Yeah, I haven't done it at home. I get them when I'm out and about, but
Yeah,
I haven't got a home smoker yet. That's kind of on my list. Uh, like what did
the
I
guy
get?
that I talked to said cherry wood. Got
Mhm.
to use cherry wood, and of course, when you buy a smoker, they'll sell you 6 different kinds of wood:
Okay.
apple
Yeah.
wood, this,
Sure.
that, and the other. And he said cherry wood, and he firmly believed that there was one kind of torch thing. He didn't use one of the boxes. He had a torch, and
Okay.
he would actually have a piece of cherry wood, and he would fire the heck out of that cherry. Actually, set a little piece of the cherry plank on
Uh,
fire, turn the glass upside down, and sit on that smoking plank. And then he would be mixing the drink and he would put it all together and smoke it again. Man, was it good. So
all
I don't know
right.
what happened to that guy. He went away when the restaurant went away, but
Ah,
he knew how to do it. He really knew how to do it.
yeah, that's why I follow my favorite bartenders on on Facebook because they'll move from bar to bar, and it's like they there's people that are just talented and they just do it right, and
Yeah.
you just want to follow you just want to follow them when you find them.
I just want to sit there and watch them,
Yeah,
because they're just doing it.
yeah,
They're not stressing, they're not measuring, and every time it's perfect. And
yeah,
I want to be
yeah.
that bartender.
So when I get home, I'm like, oh yeah, well, I gotta watch them because I want to do this when I get home.
I got to be that.
I want to be able to replicate this. So
So
yeah.
that whole egg white thing really threw me off. I
Yeah, so
mean,
we were talking about New York sours earlier,
I'm not,
and
when
then
I was in your class, we go to New York like once. I have a friend the same friend who introduced me to old fashions in Charleston. We meet up with them in New York, and we do music, we do Broadway shows, something like that. And we usually are drinking bourbon every place we go. And this last trip, which was just a couple months ago, we were doing New York sours. Everywhere we went, we did a New York sour. So we went to Nobu, the famous Nobu restaurant. That was like our big splurge while we were in New York City.
yeah.
And they had the Nobu Old Fashioned. And I had that. It was fabulous. It has ginger beer in it. But every place else we went, we had New York sours, and they were all wonderful. And I loved that foamy top stuff. And then I got home, looked at the recipe, and said, I don't know if I'm going to do that.
Egg white,
But
like,
I found this stuff. Have you seen this stuff?
no.
This is the Fee people
The
who
Fee
do
brothers, yeah.
yeah. They have Fee foam, a non-egg alternative for shaken drinks.
Ah,
And you dump it in there just like bitters,
yeah,
shake the heck out of it. It's awesome.
okay. So,
So
but even
I'm not
just
sure I could taste the egg, right? It's really more of a look thing.
yeah, because the New York sour is bourbon, bourbon and
Yeah,
lemon juice,
yeah.
right? And then
And
the wine float.
the wine float. Now the egg foam is that the New York sour, or am I thinking of the paper plane?
Uh, Paper
Which one
plane.
has egg white?
This New York sour.
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, the New York sour does. Where's my New York sour recipe? There it is. So yeah,
A lot of
it's
them don't have the egg white.
so whiskey and then lemon juice, simple syrup.
Yeah.
Here's what I do instead of the simple syrup. I use maple syrup. Like
It's awesome.
maple, like get a just a honest to goodness, not the not the plastic woman on a bottle, but an actual from the trees maple syrup
Yeah. Real stuff.
instead of the simple syrup. So yeah, so that it's sticky, it gets in there. So the simple syrup, the lemon juice, and the whiskey, and then when I shake it, right, because when it's a juice, it's supposed to be shaken.
Yeah.
If it's not juices, it's stirred, is from what I understand.
Is
Uh,
it too? I didn't know that.
yeah, so when a cocktail has juice in it, lime juice, lemon juice, some sort of when it has juice, that's when you shake it.
Okay.
And the other cocktails without juices are stirred. So that's why it's a big deal that James Bond asked for the martini shaken, not stirred.
Not stirred.
Because it would normally be stirred because there's not lemon and there's no juice in it.
I was just going to ask you.
So
Bond, man.
yeah, so it's so that's the difference. But and they say, oh, you'll bruise the gin if you're shaking it. It's like, what? I don't understand that. But it's nice when you take this and you shake it up with just the lemon juice and the maple syrup and the bourbon. It gets a little foamy just
Yeah.
of itself
All by itself.
from shaking
Mhm.
it. And then I float the red wine on it, and boom, we're done. I don't the egg white freaks me out. It just I don't know.
Budget, isn't it? Yeah, it just seems weird. But I have a terrible time with the floater. I've
Yeah.
tried maybe 3 or 4 times. I do the upside down spoon and drizzle it over, and boom, it goes to the bottom of the glass, and all of a sudden my glass is red.
So I'm a big Guinness drinker.
Yeah.
When it comes to beer, it's Guinness or nothing really for me. If I go to a bar, if they don't have Guinness, it's like, okay, give me a PBR. It's
Yeah.
like it doesn't
Because
matter.
it kind of doesn't even matter, right?
Right, yeah. And then people, oh no, we have this milkshake chocolate vanilla stout. No, that's not Guinness. Just get me a PBR. But Guinness, to do the black and tans,
Yeah.
they have spoons for that because that you gotta. It's basically a float with the black and tan.
Wow.
And
My
the
husband
Guinness.
orders those all the time, but I didn't know that was a float.
So well, pretty much, yeah. So there's a Guinness. There's a special bar spoon. Again, buying those toys, right?
Yeah.
So you get a special spoon, and I have those from doing the Guinness and doing black and tans at home, and so I use that when I do my float on my New York sours.
So what's special about the spoon?
It's just rounder. It's not the less spoon shaped, more round shaped.
More like an ice cream scoop?
Yeah. But no, it's very spoon like. It's still very spoon like, but it's just round, instead of the pear shaped. Or
So you got to do a demo on this. Show the
yeah.
proper technique.
Yeah, well, because we were talking, we have a mutual friend, Tanya Cole,
Yeah.
from Atlanta, and she's great. She's been on the show, and when we were doing Joe Louis Bourbon, she was like all over that. And I still talk to her. You talk to people, right, on Facebook. Yeah. Oh, I still talk to her all the time. It's like, liking posts and commenting, and we don't really,
She's
talk.
a blast, though.
Yeah.
I was thrilled to get to know her just a tiny bit.
So we'll have you back. We'll do New York sours with Tanya, and because I want to talk to her. She went to that Stave and Thief training, so she's a bourbon steward. So
Love to hear about that. What that experience
well,
was
I'll
like.
let you know. Yeah, I'll let you know when she's going to be on, and you can come on and we can just hang out and do New York.
That'd
We
be
can
blessed.
mess with New York sours.
I would
I'll
love
get
it.
I'll get
Fantastic.
the Fee Brother thing, and we'll do that. But let's get back to your book, right? The Bourbon Basics for her. How do people get it, right? You're kind of giving it? Oh, do you give it away?
Well,
What do you do?
what I'm doing now is really getting reviews because I know this much about this. I'm not an author by profession, but what I've learned is that until you have social proof for a book, people are like, well, is it even worth it? Right. So what's recommended is that you work with reviewers who are willing to give you honest feedback about the book, and hopefully they like the book. And what I ask is that they go to Amazon and leave a review for me. Honest review. If you don't like it, tell me you don't like it. And a couple of people have.
Okay. All right.
But most people are, they'll tell you what they like about it, but they'll also give you ideas for how to make it better. So
Mm-hmm.
I have ads running on Facebook now where folks can just ping me and I send them an electronic copy of the book for free,
Okay.
just for their feedback on the book, for their review of the book. But if you want to buy a real copy, so to speak, you can go to Amazon and just search Bourbon Basics on Amazon. It'll pop right up.
Okay.
And it's not very expensive. As I said, it's the starter book for
Sure.
bourbon. It's got a few recipes, a little bit of learning, and really it just gets you started for the good stuff. So go to Facebook, search, go to my website, which is it's just a page that's for people who love bourbon. It's called Ladies Love Bourbon. And you can go there and click on a link, and I'll send you a free copy of the book. And all I ask in return is that you give me an honest review of the book. And if you want to buy it, go to Amazon, buy
It's like LL Bourbon J. It's like it's because LL Cool J. It's like Ladies Love Cool J.
it. It's tons of
Oh, I
fun.
was gonna play some LL Cool J. That's why.
I've met so many fun people. I mean, so many fun people and all kinds of folks. I would say that 30% of the people who ask for a review and buy the book are men,
Okay.
right? And, it's just probably shouldn't have made it for her. But obviously, I was speaking from my own point of view.
Sure.
So,
Well, and that's the trap with the man cave, right?
yeah,
Well, and that's why we put on the sign. It's a podcast for everybody.
yes, for everybody.
I
And
mean,
tons of fun to vote.
and it's not bourbon. We do gin and tequila. We've done gin, tequila, rum, vodkas, cocktails. So you have in part of it are some classic cocktail
Yeah,
recipes from Difford's Guide in
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So the old fashioned, we know you're an old fashioned junkie.
Oh, yeah.
So let's take the old fashioned off the table. What is your number two favorite cocktail?
My number two at the moment is a paper plane, which is,
Mm.
again, a classic. It's just super easy to make. It's fun. It's very citrusy. It's not too sweet. That's great. And if I'm not having my bourbon over an ice cube with some bitters, it's probably a paper plane, and then maybe an old fashioned. And yeah, I'm a simple lady. I like simple stuff, so that's good enough for me.
Yeah. So I don't know if you went back to that one. We just did the paper plane.
Did you really?
Yeah. It's there's a girl, another see, it's another lady in the
Yeah,
man cave. Her name is Sarah
Sarah. I saw Sarah.
from A
She was
Flavor Journal.
mixing a drink. Yeah.
Yeah, Sarah from A Flavor Journal. And so yeah, we did the paper plane with her. And so yeah, we like the we enjoyed the hell out of it.
It
I,
looked
I
like fun. I watched the podcast. And I thought it looked like you guys were having a blast. So
yeah, yeah, the
I'd love
bar.
to meet her. She'd be so much fun.
Yeah, she's super. Maybe we'll just make it a big girl party. We'll have a big slumber party. We'll have Sarah on and Tanya and
I have so many questions. I can't wait to be able to have somebody to ask all these questions to. So
yeah,
it'd be
yeah.
fun.
Tanya's good. Tanya, she knows
Now
she's
that she's such a pro, I want to make a list of if you're going to buy one bourbon that's referred to as woody, which one would that be? If you're going to buy
uh,
one that's referred to as spicy, which one would that be?
all right.
Because then you can think about food pairings, right?
Yeah.
Which I love to cook, love to entertain. I've got to incorporate bourbon into entertaining, but my tasting palate is not all that well developed yet. So how do I know what I really should buy?
Yeah. Yeah, and Sarah is really good with that on her flavor journal. Doing that. Yeah, we'll just have a little cocktail party.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So
I love
we'll
that.
everybody bring a cocktail and talk about it. I think maybe it might be fun, and we'll kind of dive into Tanya's experiences too. But all right, cool. So people can find it. They just go to Amazon, and then they can just search Bourbon Basics, and it'll come up
Pop right up.
there. And
Or they can go to my Facebook page, find me there.
Yep. So if you're willing to do a little work and write a review, honest reviews, honest and real reviews, uh,
You get it for free.
yeah, you can get one for free. So I shared it with Matt and August, and they both enjoyed it. They're like, oh, this is good. And then anyway, so they're like, oh, this is, but it's short. It's very short. It's very short.
Super fast read.
And,
I mean, this is a one afternoon kind of read. That's all it is.
yeah.
Just get you started.
But that's the thing. We just trying to, and that's the object of the man cave is to learn, right?
Yeah.
And
Just have some fun with it, explore, do something new. You might love it, you might not love it, but what do you get if you don't try stuff, right? So I love the man cave. That sounds terrific.
Yeah, Melody.
You're a regular watcher, sure now.
Melody loves food pairings.
Yeah.
That she loves doing that. So thanks for chiming in there. All right, cool. So your Facebook page, there's a Facebook group, and that's Ladies Love Bourbon.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Facebook, is there a page for the book itself, or is there a group or a page?
It's kind of all just mushed together. So if you go to Ladies Love Bourbon, you'll see the book there. If you want to do it, you can do
so
that.
you moderate that
yeah,
group.
More or less.
All right.
Sure. We're out there all week, here and there, all week long, having fun with people who are learning about bourbon. It's a blast. I've just had more fun with it. I had no idea how much fun I would have. And the other thing I've learned is that there are a ton of women out there who are who absolutely love it. So I was feeling all alone unnecessarily.
Yeah. Have you done the Bourbon Trail? Have you done the distilleries?
I haven't, and I'm dying to do it. I've been contacted by so many people who are distillery folk, saying, "So why didn't you talk about us in your book?"
Yeah.
I didn't even know you noticed. I can't wait to go. I've enlisted my son. He's going to be our driver. He's just going to drive us everywhere.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, because we have some friends there on the Bourbon Trail. They're the Kentucky Bourbon Boys, and they do curated tours. And so they know the ins and outs. They'll take you to the popular ones. They'll take you to the back road ones. They usually do in a day. They said it's reasonable to go because they're not like all next door. They're kind of spread out. But they'll curate a tour. They'll talk to you. They'll interview you, and they'll set up and they'll do a tour for you. And it's like, so we check in with them, and they give us news from the Bourbon Trail now and again.
That is so cool.
Yeah, Kentucky Bourbon Boys. And then you're not driving, right? And they know the good spots for dinner. They knew got good spots for lunch, and they set up
where to stay and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so they operate out of Louisville, and they'll take you around. So that's my plan, is to go and hang with the Kentucky Bourbon Boys.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah,
we should get a group together.
Everybody rendezvous. Get all rendezvous in Kentucky.
Wouldn't that be fun though?
I would be a riot.
And the other thing I'm dying to figure out is virtual tasting experiences, because I'm in my palate development phase, but I haven't seen a ton out there. Do you know anybody who does like curated bourbon tastings, like virtual tastings?
It's tricky because shipping, right? Yeah. And it varies state by state of where you can sell liquor, where you can import it, say from this state to that state, or within the state itself.
Yeah.
It gets tricky. I know the party store owners in Michigan, we call them party stores, liquor stores, convenience stores, whatever. But the party stores here in Michigan, they'll get like the samples from the distilleries when they do a barrel pick. So they'll do like they'll do their barrel pick, and they'll get like samples, and they do it. They don't have to drive to Kentucky to do it, but they love all the stores that we work with. They love going down there and making those connections and being there and actually tasting the barrels. But that's more of, I don't know, I guess there's probably ways around it for that. But yeah, so there's another group of folks that we've worked with a couple of times. They're called Shaker and Spoon, and it's a box, it's like a monthly subscription box of cocktails. But it's everything except the booze, right? So they give you, and I got a few umbrellas here in the studio because one of theirs was, we did the tiki one with them, and they had umbrellas in it. I was so happy.
That's cool.
I was in my
cocktails, though. It's not bourbon specific. It's not a bourbon
No,
thing.
yeah. So it's, mezcal or tequila or rum
Yeah.
or whatever. So yeah, so it's but yeah,
I'm
so they
dying for one where a box comes to me and an expert tells me, all right, bottle number one, that is cinnamon and vanilla. That's
yeah,
what you're tasting, right? Because I don't, yeah, it tastes good or doesn't it, but I don't know how to relate that to the right descriptors.
yeah.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
So you like bourbon. So the ryes are right in there with bourbon. But where are you at with the other whiskeys or Irish whiskeys? Are you into those at all?
Not at all,
Okay.
really. I've only just mixed drinks,
Right,
so
right.
I truly am a neophyte and I fell in love with bourbon. So that's like the
Yeah.
only thing I do. Now I always have whiskeys here. So, sure. I've
Have
had
you
a little
done
bit of this, a little bit of
scotch? Have you done scotch? Are you into
that,
scotch
a
at
little
all?
bit of this, a little bit of that. But I tried scotch years ago
Yeah.
when I wasn't really ready for it, I think.
Yeah. I'm not scotch. I make bad choices. Scotch,
After
I
you
get
drink it or
cranky
before you drink it?
before and during and then after it's scotch. I don't know, but I did a tasting. It was interesting. Johnny Walker is a blend, right?
Yeah,
And so we did a taste. It was cool and it was dangerous because you got there and there was like a welcome cocktail hour, and so you had like a cocktail or two, and the liquor was all Johnny Walker.
yeah,
Um, and then you went into the tasting, and it was a free promotional thing that they put on. It was insane. So and there was like hors d'oeuvres there, and then you sat down and there was a placemat, and there were like 5 shots on the placemat, right? So
yeah,
there was a Johnny Walker, and it was like there were just the regular Johnny Walker, and then there were the three. So one was what they blend. So the three that they would blend to create the Johnny Walker. So you would try the Johnny Walker, and then you would try, and one was peat, one was very floral, and one was more of a straight just whiskey. And then the fifth one was another shot of Johnny Walker, and they're like, all right, so you don't have to, and we don't recommend you drink all all of them, all of them all the way through. Because that's like you had a cocktail for the welcome hour, and then
yeah,
and then you have 5 shots in front of you. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't I don't
I'm probably over it,
I
you
don't
know?
make good choices, so I drank them all. But um that would be that's kind of what you were talking about, to have somebody
Yeah,
send you that. I'd imagine it's available out there somewhere. But
me
again,
too.
it depends on
The
where
ones,
you live, as if you can get it shipped to you or not, because
yeah.
some states have you can't.
And here in
Michigan
Florida, of course, we can do anything. I mean, it's
Michigan
whatever.
is a little
But
restrictive. We can't get stuff shipped here. There's
what I noticed though, the ones that I found online is it was more almost like a sales come on. It's like
mhm.
here are 4 things for you to taste and maybe you'll want to buy it. Right.
Right, right, right.
And I was really looking for something that was more educational in nature, to try to figure out what is it I like, and I think that I'm starting to figure that out, but I would really love to, maybe I just need to go to tastings,
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
local in town tastings, or spend a whole lot of time in Kentucky. That's
Right.
where,
Yeah. Yeah. So we have some great in the Metro Detroit area here. There's some
yeah.
great, whiskey in the winter, and the halls
Mhm.
of whiskey, and there's all these, the bourbon classic, and there's
Yeah.
these tastings, and the manufacturer's set up, and you can go and you can try the different ones. And
Right.
it's Traverse City has a pretty, they're getting pretty reputable. Traverse City Distillery, they're getting their product out there. Traverse City is known for their cherries. So they have a nice cherry one, too,
Huh.
a cherry bourbon. But they do gin and vodka and the whole line of spirits. But
Yeah.
they're doing the bourbons. Downtown Ferndale, people familiar with Michigan, 9 Mile and Woodward. There's a Traverse City whiskey tasting room right there at 9 and Woodward, which is pretty cool. And then there's another Detroit distillery. It's Detroit City Distillery in downtown Detroit, and they have some nice bottles coming out of there too. And they do some interesting tastings before they release things. Sometimes they'll do tastings, and they'll like invite people in to taste and decide what's going to get released as what. I've been lucky enough to get invited to a couple of those. So
That
yeah,
sounds like fun.
yeah. Look for like the bourbon experience or the bourbon whatever. Your local entertainment magazine usually puts them on.
Yeah.
They're money grabs, but it's a nice chance to taste a lot of different things.
They're always also fun.
Yeah.
We went to Charleston Food and Wine this last spring, which
Mhm.
it has a lot of things, obviously, but also a strong bourbon motif. And there was one event in particular, it was a really excellent restaurant in town, and they had like a 5-course meal
Ah.
with it was sponsored by Woodford, so
Oh,
everything was related. But each course came with its unique, tiny little, but for obvious reasons, they needed to be tiny because you were going to have 5 of them, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
To taste with and I was fascinated by that, by the designing of the drink to go with the food, the pairings, and fascinated by that. So I can't wait to learn more about that. That's kind of
Yeah.
what I'd love to do. Maybe I'll retire someday and do that.
That's my plan. That's my retirement plan.
Maybe
More man cave. More man cave. Anyway,
more man cave. Yeah,
that's it.
more women in the man cave. Come on.
Yes. All right. So, Carrie, thanks for hanging out in the man cave today. Find her on Amazon, Bourbon Basics for her.
Yeah,
And then the Facebook pages, Ladies Love Bourbon,
ladies love
get
bourbon.
connected. And so, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for
Thanks.
having me. It's been so fun. It's been a
Yeah.
great time. So I'm hoping you'll have me back.
Yeah. Well, we will. So yeah, like I said, we'll get a party and we'll get some of the ladies in here and just kind of connect everybody, make some more friendships.
I'll be here. Name the
All right.
date. I'll be here.
All right, Gary. Cheers.
Cheers.
We'll see you soon. Cheers.
Take care now.